Hi everyone, it's Ayush here and welcome back to my channel. I'm excited to share today's video which is on the topic of how you can apply different kind of cell properties on a particular cell in MS Excel by using VBA. So without wasting any time, let's dive into the video. So before starting today's video, let me just explain that what we are going to cover in today's video. In today's video, we are going to take a look after that how we can just apply different kind of cell properties. In fact, how you can change different kind of cell properties of a particular cell by using VBA code. So for example, take this cell K12. So there is a bunch of things that I can perform on this particular cell K12. Like I can change the borders, I can change the background color, I can change the font settings like font color, font size, font style, make the font bold, italic, underline. Means in fact there is a lot of things that you can perform on this particular cell. So there are two methods of doing that. First method is you can just use the options available in the home tab of MS Excel for doing this task. Second is you can use VBA. So what is the advantage of using VBA in this case? So the only advantage of using VBA is you can automate your work by using VBA, because whenever you run your module, it is going to automatically perform all the formattings and the stylings. So this is the only benefit why we are going to just use VBA in this video to do this task. So let me just open my VBA, and if you don't know how you can open the VBA, let me just close this. And to open VBA, you need to go to the developer tab and then click on the Visual Basic. After you do that, you will see that our basic Visual Basic interface is there. Now what you need to just select this module 1. In this module 1, we are going to do all our coding. So let me just take it side by side with the MS Excel window. Okay, so it's fun. Okay, fine. Now what we are going to do, we are going to write the code here, and whatever I write inside the VBA code editor, it's going to be reflected in my Excel worksheet. So let me just select one cell here, D5. If I just select the D5 cell and I go back to the VBA code editor and I write here active cell dot, and the moment I write here dot, it will give me a bunch of options. Now from the bunch of options, I will just select whatever I want. So suppose if I want to change the font settings of this particular cell, what I can do, active cell dot font dot. Now after I write like active cell dot font dot, then it will give me more and more options which are related to the font only, not related to the active cell, because we have just entered into the font object. Now when we enter into the font object, it will give me all the options which are related to the font. So I'm getting like active cell dot font dot. Now suppose if I want to change the size of that font, so let me just change the size into 14. Okay, when I just press enter, it will just auto format the code. Let me just save this. Now for testing our code, we need to give some value to that particular cell to check is the font size changed or not. So let me just give some value to that cell. So let me just say active cell dot value, and when I say active cell dot value, I want to say that the text inside this D5, I'm going to change that text by using the dot value into whatever I want. So let's say active cell dot value is equal to, let me just give the coordinates of this cell, so D5. The moment I save this and run this code, it will what it will do, it will just first give the active cell the value of D5, and then it will just apply the font size of 14 into that cell. So if I just run this code, you will see that first it just applied the value of D5 into the D5 cell, and then it just made the font size to 14. So this is a way you can just change the font size. Now we are having one more thing related to font. Is we are having a lot of things like active cell dot font dot color. So you can change the color of that font as well. So suppose if you want the color to be something like red. Okay, so for doing that, you should not use these double quotes, and inside the double quotes you will write red. That's incorrect. You need to say here VBRED red. So what is the VB red? It's simply Visual Basic red, or you can say a VB red is a variable already present in the VB code editor. So if I save this code, I click on the run button. Now you will see it will just apply the value of D5, change the font size, and then change the color of the text. Now we can even apply something like, suppose if you want to change the font style, so what you will do, you will simply say active cell dot font dot font style, and in the font style you will pass one string. So what do I mean by string? If you want to understand what is a string, what is a number in programming, you can watch my previous video which was on the topic of programming basics. So active style.font.font style is equal to a string. Now we need to pass that string at this point. So what is a string? Let me just go to the home tab. Okay, and I will select one a beautiful string that I want to just miss the beautiful font style that I want to just apply on this cell. So let me just select one. So suppose if I want this Cambria math, so I will just select this Cambria math and I will just copy the font. After I copy that font, okay, let me just change it back to the gallery so that we can just test is our code working or not. So I will just save this and I will go back to the VBA code editor. Now I will just say active set.font.font style equal to, in double quotes I will just pass the font name. So I will just pass Cambria math. Now after I do that, I just save the code. The moment I save the code, it will be just auto formatted, and then I click on this run button. So even before that, let me just delete this, or let me just select any other cell like E11 to show you the debug, means how it debugs the code. So for debugging the code, you need to just go to the debug, or you can simply press F8. F8. Now when you press F8, it will just start debugging your code line by line. Means the currently highlighted line is going to be formatted once again if you just click on this F8. So if I just click on F8, it is going to debug the first highlighted line. F8, it has just means executed that, and now it's on the second line of the code. You saw that it just ignored up all the comments that were there. Now let me just press F8 one more time. It's going to execute the highlighted line. Now you can see it is just giving the value of D5 to that cell. Now if I just press F8 one more time, it's going to change the font size of that cell. So you can see the font style has changed into 14. Now active cell.font.color equal to VB red. If I just press enter, means F8 one more time, it's going to just apply the red color. Now you can see the red color is there. Now as expected, if I just press F8 one more time, it's going to give it the Cambria math font. Now you can see it is not there. So just if I just go back to the code editor and go to this home tab, F8, okay. So the debug process has just ended. I just save this code, run the code, run it. Now also the Cambria math is not coming. So what can be the issue behind the font not coming? So we are saying active cell dot font style equal to, in double quotes, Cambria math. So indeed there was one issue in that code, and what's the issue was, you need not to use the font style. Instead of that, you can use the font dot name. So when you use active cell dot font dot name, it's going to change the font name. That actually makes some sense. So if I say here active cell dot font dot name equal to Cambria math, it's going to change the font name to a Cambria math. So let me just save this. Now let me just select okay, let's take this cell H7. Okay, so if I just select this H7, go to the VBA code editor, I just save this code, run the code. Now you can see it has just given it the value of D5, and it is just giving it the size of 14, then the color red, then the name of the font just changed into the Cambria math. So this is the actual way how you can apply different kind of font settings. Now what about how you can change the background color of this cell? So for changing the background color of this cell, what you can do, you can simply say active cell dot. Now for changing the background color, one thing you should have in your mind, that the background always lies in the interior of the cell, right? It's always lies inside the borders of the cell. So for getting inside the cell, you need to say active cell dot interior dot. When you say interior, you are inside that cell. Now active cell dot interior dot color. Now when you say active cell dot interior dot color, it will change the interior color of that cell, which is inside the borders, like the green borders are there, right? Inside that green borders, we are having some area that is represented as a cell. So we are just changing that area color into some any other color that you want or I want. So I will just say here active cell dot interior dot color dot color equal to, and this time as well we are going to just pass the VB colors. So VB, so let's say we want it to be yellow. Okay, now let me just save this and click on this run button. So I will select this time the G4 cell. After I select the G4 cell, go back to the VBA code editor and click on this run button. Let me just show you how it debugs. So let me just say here F8. So you can see it's on the first line. If I just press F8, it's going to be on the second line. Now, if I just press F8 one more time, it's going to give the value of D5. D5 is there. Now the font size is going to change to 14. 14 font size. The color is going to be red. Yes. Now the font name, the font dot name. Remember, font name is going to change into Cambria Math. Font name to Cambria Math. Now the interior color of the cell is going to change into yellow. Now you can see it is changed into yellow, and now we are going to end the execution. That's it. So this is a way you can use different kind of cell properties on a particular cell in VBA. Now one more thing is there. Before ending the video, I want to tell you that how you can use the with block. So what is happening? We are just using the active cell again and again, like almost 5 times in the whole code, right? So we can just replace this active cell. So we can what we can do, we can just say here, just ignore that. Let me just write here with active cell. Now when I say with active cell means whenever we are going to execute any line, we are going to say with active cell in the starting, dot value, dot font size, font color, dot font name, interior dot color. So what I want to do with active cell, and after we say end with, because whatever we start in programming, we need to end that as well. So with active cell, end with, this is the basic structure of the with block. So what you need to do, just take this code, cut this code here and paste it here. Now remove this active cell from each line, and now you just run the code. First you run the code, then I will explain what I just did. The same thing is going to happen. If I just select this H2, the same thing just happened, right? So what I just did, so what I'm doing with active cell means with active cell in the starting of each line, we are saying with active cell dot value equal to D5, dot font dot size equal to 14, dot font dot color equal to VB red, dot font dot name equal to Cambria Math, and dot interior dot color equal to VB yellow. So what's the benefit of this with block? You may have realized that the with block benefit is that you do not need to again and again use, or there is like again and again you are not okay. So what the advantage of with block is, there is no need of repeating this active cell again and again when you are declaring the value, when you are declaring the font size, when you are declaring the font color or any other property. So there is no need of declaring the active cell and again. So you are just saying with active cell means in the starting of every line we are just placing the active cell dot value is equal to this, and dot any other property is equal to the value. And at last we are saying end with. Remember to use end with, otherwise it will give you a one error that the with block is not stopped. So you just give here end with, and after that you just end the sub procedure. So this is the way you can just use different kind of cell properties on a particular cell in VBA, and this is how you can just use the with block as well. So let me just save this code. Let me just select any like C6. Let me go to the VBA, run this. Okay. So yeah, that's all for today's video. Meet you in the next video. Till then, see you.